Okay, so this is the contents of the kit for the VT750 model. I think they are all the same. Okay, so this is for the lower bearing and the top bearing. They are different in size. This one is larger generally, and this one is smaller. Those are the old parts that I removed. You can see on the manual how to remove the racers. It's not very difficult. Just use a large screwdriver with a hammer and just hammer them out from the inside. So this is the lower racer, lower bearing, a dust seal, and this is a spacer that I will have to use. It comes with a very small instructions paper that says that you have to assemble the old lower bearing with the balls in it, so that I can measure the height of the old bearing to determine which one of these spacers I should use. So I'm going to assemble this and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've put the old bearing. Didn't use all the balls, not necessary, just to make the measurement. I have to put the original spacer, and this is the dust seal. So the dust seal would go here, the spacer there, and this would be on the bottom of the stem. So that's where it used to be. Okay, so the instruction says that I need to measure this thickness, and I'm going to use this instrument here. So it's at 0. Okay. So it's almost 18, 795, 1795, 92 something millimeters. Okay. And the instructions tell me to compare this with this. Okay, so back to 0. And I have here 15.5, 15.4. So I need a spacer. Let me check this one. Oh, 2.6 looks just exactly what I need. So (18.3). So it's not exactly the same. It says 18.2 now, but it is less than it is within 1 millimeter as per instruction of the original size. It says more or less 1 millimeter. So this is the spacer that I'm going to use. That will give me the displacement from the bottom of the stem. It had another spacer which I'm not going to use. It's much thicker. Okay. So I don't need this anymore. Now it says also that these small tabs right there, it has a small tab all around, that were used to hold this skirt on, and this was the part that was loose on my bike. Okay. It says that a small tab must be 1.7 millimeters in height. So I'm going to measure that. 0 and okay, it says 1.75 millimeters. I'm using this lower part to measure the height. So 1.75, it's okay for me. And as a result, I do not have to change this part. I will use the original one. So this will be used after reassembling of this part, the sealer, and then this will go on top. Okay, so now I'm going to pack this bearing with grease. There's no grease in it, just oil. It's not a very high quality bearing. It says all bearing. Not really very high quality, but you don't really need a very good bearing for this application. Just one that will hold longitudinal pressure on the racer. Okay. And this looks to work very well. So using the heat gun to heat up the bearing so that it will go inside the stem. Okay, so now I'm going to try to push it down. This is a plastic tube. Okay, so the bearing is right there. It's right down there, so there's no play in the spacer. Okay. Okay, so I didn't pack the bearing, which I think I should have with the grease. However, remember that this is not a very high speed bearing. It doesn't really need a lot of grease, because it will just turn a couple of times every minute. Anyway, I'm gonna do it now, so I'm gonna fill the bearing rolls with some lithium grease that I have, and then I'm gonna mount the racer on the neck of the bike. Now I'm gonna just see what happens. So with the new racer in, I'm gonna put some grease in there. So now I'm gonna try to put the upper race with a bit of grease in there. Tighter fit. Plastic hammer or rubber one. So as you can see, there's like a small lip that still hangs in there. The racer is right up to the bottom, so there's nothing more I can do there. I packed the bearing with some grease. And there it goes. Now, and finally, let's so. Oh yeah, coming out nice. So now I would need my forks to line up these two parts before I press everything in. Okay. So just to show you, tighten it up. I have the spacer and the nut.